about the digital product passport, and also how connected to the green building. So this is a quite very interesting and hot topic these days. So I will just explain what would be the new CPR and how was the digital product passport and how it's connected to the green building. So as my colleague mentioned, please submit your question with the chat. And then this workshop is also recorded. And then at the end, we will also send you the material. And if there was any question remaining, then we try to answer afterward. So my name is Morteza Nikravan. I am the senior expert at Kiva, so leading the LCA EPD team in Berlin. And I work as EPD and carbon footprint verifier also, and support the manufacturer with the CPR, EPDs, and green building scheme like DGNB and H. So as you probably know, like the Kiva is globally active organization with the roots in the Netherlands, so founded in 1948, and we operated in more than 35 countries. The Kiva is part of the SHV holdings, and our role is to support the trust, compliance, and sustainability across the regulated market. But before just started the webinar, I am also really interested to know a bit about your topic and also your your background. And yeah, so I like to understand who is in the room today. So I appreciate if you please scan the QR code and then answer a few quick questions, which help me to yeah, provide like more example and then focus what is most relevant for you. So I appreciate if you just scan this QR code, then you will go to one questionnaire. So let me share the questionnaire, then everybody see that one. Okay. Building sector, cement, steel production, concrete, education. Okay, perfect. So seems that more than 2 people also in the certification. So for the newcomers, so I appreciate if you just answer this question, because then I will just get more know about you. House builder in the Irland. Okay, interesting. Okay, so I will just keep it for next 10 seconds and then I will just go to the second question. R&D. Okay, I think for R&D it's very important this webinar, so it would be very helpful. Okay, thank you very much. Then we will go to the second question. So I would like to know, so somebody has also answered, but I would like to know that how much you are familiar with the new construction product regulation, like new CPR. So if you just let me know, then that would be nice. Okay, interesting. So we have different uh, people with a different knowledge in the room. So somebody very familiar already work with, and somebody is somehow familiar with that. But okay, it seems that everybody have heard about this new construction product regulation. Okay, I will just keep it for 5 seconds and then I will go to the last question. Yes, I think the material will be sent, but for recording, I think I don't know, so the corporation should decide about it. Okay. So the last question is that which of the following topics are you already working with today? So what is the most topic now you are involved with? If you can select one of this one, then that would be very appreciated. Then I know that's what is the main challenges, or I don't know, like how you work now. Okay. Okay, interesting. So there was also some people that work with the digital product passport, which is interesting. But it seems that most of the people work on the EPD or life cycle assessment. Okay, I will just keep it for 5 seconds and then I will just start my presentation. Okay, thank you very much. So now I'm just back to the presentation. Okay, so what would be the topic today? So I will just explain like a clear practical view of what is the construction product regulation or the CPR. So what is the new change for the manufacturer? And then we also look at the digital product passport. So what is the scope? What is the typical product passport data? And what is the uncertainty behind the product passport? And then what is the realistic way to prepare? And then at the end, I will just explain how it would be connected with the green building certification and what is the Kiva can actually support the manufacturer through this green building certification. And then at the end, we will have the Q&A. So what is the CPR? The Construction Product Regulation is an EU framework of the harmonized rule for placing and marketing construction product. It is support the free movement of the product in the European single market by removing the national barrier while setting the requirement for the CE marking. So that would be like included the third-party assessment and also the market surveillance. So it's also established a common technical language for assessing and communicating the performance of the production of the construction product and linked to the National Building Code through the basic requirement for the construction work or BRCW. So as you probably know, we also have the eco design for sustainable product regulation or ESPR. And depend on the product, it will be fall under one of these two categories, either the CPR or ESPR. And we also have some other regulation in the EU, for example, the the registration, evaluation, and authorization restriction of the chemical material. So if you are already the LCA practitioner, then you have heard about this one. So it's usually we declare in the EPD that if there was one of this material is included in the product or not. And then this is also connected to the public procurement directive. So this is what it's connected to the different regulation in the EU. And the CPR, the new CPR, aimed to enhance the use of sustainable construction product in the public procurement to achieve the climate neutrality. So with that, we improve the energy and resource efficiency as well as transition to the circular economy. And then at the end, there was one European methodology for sustainability assessment of the building. If you have heard about it, it's called levels. And this is like a common language for assessing and reporting on the sustainability performance of the building. So this is something which is interconnected to the CPR and also ESPR. So I put one example for what is this fall into the CPR and what is the ESPR. So for example, if you have the window or the chimney, then it would be like a CPR. But if you have like a boiler or the heat pump, then it would be in the ESPR. So it's fall in the ESPR. So this is one of the example. So why they make the CPR updated? So there was a need for more clarity, reducing the overlaps and removing the contradiction or repetitive requirement with the other EU regulation. So there was, as you know, there was the EU Green Deal, and the EU strategy is to achieve climate neutrality by 2050 and fulfill its commitment under the Paris Agreement. So this is this is the goal that they decided to update the CPR, and the overall objective is reducing the climate impact, of course, and increasing the material efficiency of the whole construction product sector. So the CPR, the current CPR already consider environmental sustainability, even if to a more limited extent compared to its revised 2024 revision, which is now introducing the mandatory sustainability declaration. So which would be like a biggest step for the sustainable construction. And of course, at the end, it's very important that making all this framework fit for the digital age, as the EU call it. So the digitalization is also one of the steps that is mentioned in the new CPR. So here it's a timeline for the CPR implementation. Sorry. So the CPR 2024 entered into the force on the 7th of the January 25 and will be applicable as the 8th of the January 2026. So from that date of the application, all construction products for which a harmonized technical specification has been made mandatory under the CPR must comply with the CPR 2024. What it means that if you are under the CPR and then you have the new regulation, then you have mandatory to go through this new CPR. And there was some like mandatory performance harmonized standards, and then based on what is the category of your product, or if you have a new like a harmonized CPR, harmonized standard, sorry, and when it will be ready for your product, then it will be applied to your product. For example, there was for chimney, so they start to make a new harmonized standard, and then this is also included the new criteria, which I explained it more in the detail. So until there is a new harmonized standard for the product group, and the old one is still apply. And when the new one is coming, then the new one will be mandatory. So what would be for the different product, like the timeline for the different product? There was still some priority for some of the product family, and then you will see here two numbers. For example, there was one numbers in the right side, which is the code of the CPR family, and then there was one in the left side. There was one in the left side with the category code, and then there was one in the right side with the priority. So you will see that, for example, for precast, normal, lightweight, and autoclave, so there was like a high priority, and then for the structural metallical, there was the second priority. But in meanwhile, there was also some product which is go to the fast track. So this is one including, for example, the chimney that you will see here. So then it means that based on the product that you have, then there was some priority to make a new CPR. And the most important here is that, like you see here, there was also the other technical aspect is also quite important, like the fire, dangerous substance, and the environmental sustainability. So this is what it include in all of the product family. So what is the key change? So the key change is this 10 key change you will see here. So for example, there was like environmental sustainability performance will be applied by the valid notified body. So that would be like a mandatory performance harmonized standard. That would be declaration of the performance and conformity, or DOPC. And that would be like increasing the information requirement. Another thing is the environmental labeling requirement. And then there was also explicitly said about the manufacture and the reuse of the different kind of product. So I will not cover all of this 10 change here, but I mostly go through this 3, which is very relevant to this webinar. And one of them is the environmental sustainability performance. The environmental sustainability performance, as you know, this is we calculated based on the EN 15804. So there was the environmental indicators like climate change effect, ozone depletion, acidification, water use, and there was also some other indicators, including, for example, the secondary material, reuse material, which is connected to the waste and also connected to the use of the resource. So this is a normal EPD or life cycle assessment based on the EN 15804. And for the whom that doesn't have very familiar with the EPD, so that would be like a calculation, that would be like a document that we calculate the environmental impact assessment from cradle to gate, which is included A1 to D. And then that would be published in the, for example, in the Kiva Ecobility database or the Eco platform. And then you will see some result for the different indicators in the A1 to D, and this is how it looks like. So then you will have a table which is clearly say that how much is the environmental impact of the product during A1 to D. Another things which is mandatory also based on the new CPR is the declaration of the performance and conformity. So before it was DOP, but now it's like DOPC. So this DOPC is made by the manufacturer, is a single document, and then there was like included all the technical aspect and also the performance and any applicable product requirement. So that need to be into the market by the manufacturer. And in this one, you need to calculate the environmental sustainability characteristic. This is according to the EN 15804. There was another thing which is added is the applicable of the assessment and verification system, or abbreviated for on AVS, which I explain in the next slide. So that would be three type of the requirement related to conformity. So the first is should be meet all the functionality requirement. The second is the safety requirement that should be fulfilled by the product, and it's written down in the DOPC. And the last one, which is the new one, is the environmental requirement, which is based on the 15804. So then, depending on the product group, then probably you can also included some of the indicators or excluded some of the indicators, which I also explain it in the next slide, what would be the timeline for. Then another one which is included in the DOPC is that when you have this document, then you have to put it also in the digital product passport. So the digital product passport will show all of this information when you scan this QR code or when you connected your DPP to your system. And then manufacturer need to continually meet this declared performance. So it means that they have to have a surveillance that, for example, every year a third party will, like a notified body like Kiva, have to check, and then if they meet, then check. If they don't meet, then they will give some information that how to meet this um, um, actually declare performance. So this is how it looked like. So this is one of the example. This is a practical example that show that the declaration of performance and conformity, how it would like in the future. And so you will see still here the environmental indicators would be the same as the EN 15804. So it means that for the one that have the EPD or life cycle assessment based on the EN 15804, then there would be not that much change. So the only things is that they need to include it in this document as a DOPC. So this is also like it shows that what would be before, like the EPD, and what would be for the new, which is called the DOPC. And then it means that this environmental impact assessment would be one of the characteristics of the product. So not only the safety and the performance of the product, but also the environmental, um, like environmental performance of the product as well. So back to what I said. So the EU decided to start with the climate change effect. So it means that the climate change effect, including all four indicators, like a fossil fuel, low-log, biogenic, and total, should be declared. But then for 4 years after the date of the application, allowed to go through the other indicators like ozone depletion, acidification. And then the green one, it keeps manufacturer to calculate these indicators like 6 years after the date of the application. But of course, if you have the EPD with all the indicators, then you don't need to worry about it. So the only things is that also you need to address if you already have the EPD. As I mentioned also in the new CPR, there was assessment and verification system or AVS 3 Plus, which is specifically made it for the environmental performance indicators. What it means, this AVS 3 Plus, so before it was like AVCP system, assessment and verification of the consistency of the performance, but now they call it like assessment and verification system. And then the 3 Plus here is made it for the environmental indicators. So it means that like a notified body, like for example Kiva, should have the initial factory control. So it could be any notified body, but it should be control the initial data that you use for the life cycle assessment. And then that would be also a validation of the environmental data. So as you see here, we have a different kind of system, so I don't want to go to the detail, but for the environmental performance indicators, so the EU decided to establish like a 3 plus, And then for 3 plus, notified body control the environmental sustainability assessment. So the good things is that the Kiva recently get a positive statement from the national accreditation body, and then we will have this accreditation very soon. So then, as a general, if you work with the EPD, the previous step, like the previous procedure is like the upper side. You will select the PCR, you will conduct a life cycle assessment, and then you will create your EPD, send it for the third-party verification, and then it should be published by the program operator. And then you will have it into the database. But with the new CPR, when it will be in the force, then the LCA expert can still like select the harmonized standard, and then based on the information in the harmonized standard, there was like some information would be similar to the PCR, for example, the functional unit, the service of life, and these kind of things. And then a life cycle assessment will be done. So when the life cycle assessment is done, then the impact category based on the EN 15804 should be calculated. And then there was one further step which the notified body need to do the validation based on the AVS 3 plus system. And then when that would be done, then the result is allowed to go to the DOPC, which the manufacturer is responsible for. And then afterward, it will go for the CE mark. So this is about the new CPR. And as I mentioned, in the new CPR, there was a change about the digitalization. And one of the things which is also the core for this webinar is the digital product passport. So what is the digital product passport? So the digital product passport is made because they wanted to make it everything traceable. So it means that not only the life cycle of the product, but also included, for example, the technical aspect and the performance. So the reason for making this digital product passport is to enhance the transparency and traceability, which is also extended to the whole supply chain, and to improve the management of the complex information, make it easy to understand for the user. And then at the end, reduce the administrative burdens. So I would say the ESPR is outline the DPP for the battery, which I also show in the next slide. But then it said that that would be obligatory 18 months after the entry into the force for the delegate of the delegated act. So it means that whenever the regulations say that the manufacturer should make this digital product passport for their own product, then the manufacturer have 18 months to establish this digital product passport. But of course, there was still some uncertainty behind it, which I go through the detail as much as I have time. So then that would be also connected to one data carrier. So it could be the QR code, it should be a linear barcode, or it could be also the NFC for some of, for example, the textile, which you need to wash them. Then at the end, it should be also interpretable into the BEAM or IT tools at the end, because then the user can calculate the whole life cycle of the building. So this is a timeline of the digitalization. So I try to put this informative slide here, because then you know when it will be applied, and then how would be like in the future. So as you see, there was like in the 7th January of 2025, there was some entry into the force, and then the DOPC digitalization is started at the 8th of the January 2026. So this is the date of application. And then at the end of 2026, then that would be like digital product passport system established by the Delegated Act. So this is the date that we probably have heard more about the digital product passport by end of 2026. And then in 2028, there was like 18 months after the date of the applicant. And then in that moment, the manufacturer need to also really have think about the digital product passport, because at the end they will have some time, but then they need to also establish some system behind it. So the only things that I wanted to mention here is that the digital product passport only applicable to the harmonized standards. So it means that when your product fall into the like a harmonized standard is coming, then you are ob obligated to do that. So what would be in the digital product passport as the information? So one is the declaration of the performance and conformity, DOPC, as I mentioned. Another one would be like a general product information, including the safety information. And then it would be also a unique code for the product, so which could be also one product or like a group of the product, but then it should have like one unique code actually. The other things is also like some technical documentation could be also included in the digital product passport. And when the product is fall in the environmental labeling, then they also need this label to put it into the digital product passport. And then at the end, there was also some documentation based on the Article 77 1D, which is under the other union law, which is specifically for that product. But then all of this information should be also machine readable, and then it should be also open to use. So it means that when you make this product passport, then it's connected to one carrier, for example, as I show here. And then here, that would be like a free of charge. So everybody can have access to this one. And of course, it would be also like based on the product type, it will be connected to this data carrier. So, sorry, there was still some uncertainty. So it's important that you know that, for example, it is currently unclear whether the standardization of the digital product passport system, how it would look like for the construction product, but then we will have more information at the Q2 26. Then we can see, for example, exactly what kind of information we can have for some of the product. And the technical requirement for the DPP data carrier based on the harmonized standard have not been yet defined. And of course, there was like time scope and the content of the Delegate Act for the focus of the product are still open. So this is some open question that we're still waiting for getting this information. But the good things is that the EU have one like clear example for the battery. And here you will see there was like a EU battery passport. So I put it as an example. And Kiva now have provide this one for based on the battery regulation. And it's called like a battery passport. So this is like a pilot project. It will be mandatory by the European law from 18th of the February 27 for the all battery. So, and that would be applied to electrical vehicle battery, light transport vehicles, and for example, all the battery which have the capacity more than 2 kilowatts. Then we will see like how it developed and then close to the digitalization in the European data set. And the responsibility to make this digital product passport for the battery, it give it to the economic operator. So either the manufacturer or the importer of this battery. For example, if they import it outside of the Europe, then they are responsible to make this digital product passport. So what would be behind this digital product passport for the battery? So they say that that should be like the general information. So in the right side, you also see one of the hypotheses also of this information. Another one is would be like a conformity and labeling and certification. Of course, one of them should be CO2 footprint of the battery, the due diligence into the supply chain, material composition of the battery, circular economy and resource efficiency, and at the end is the performance and durability. So this is some things that we know about the battery. But for the construction product, we have still not very clear, but the Kiva also have some solution for that as a voluntary one. So all in all, I just wanted to make it a bit summarize here and then go like to see what kind of service we have in the Kiva. So if you look at here, there was a link between like the manufacturer now responsibility has to data collection, factory production control, then the notified body responsibility is to check like the validation of the input data, approve it, go to the environmental sustainability data, then the product requirement, and then at the end, like a declaration of the performance and conformity. If the environmental labeling is applied for that product, then environmental labeling is also included. Otherwise, all the previous information should go to the digital product passport. So it means that for the manufacturer, it's essential to know what is the product type that they have, what is the applicable of the assessment and verification system based on the ABS 3 Plus. So they have to draw up DOPC, and afterward they can apply for like the CE mark. And the fourth step would be they implement the procedure to ensure that these criteria will continuously meet the declared performance and conformity. So that would be like a surveillance of this kind of conformity um, continuously. And then at the end, if there was some environmental sustainability label applicable for their product, then they have to also need to think about it. And then at the end, they need to make like a digital product passport available for this information. So I will just quickly explain that how Kiva can support the manufacturer. So the Kiva can provide the CPR readiness check, EPD process verification validation, CPR AVS 3 Plus validation check. So we can also provide the EPD LCA software rating. So because we have the rating, we have a software, it's called the rating, which include all this information. And we also have like connected to the DPP solution. And then at the end, there was also some service that connected to the green building. So just quickly wanted to say some of the services, but of course, if you have any, like if you are interested in, then you can also contact us and then we will, yeah, have a meeting and then explain it in the detail. But just quickly go through these services. For the CPR readiness check, we get all this information. We have 1 day for preparation, and then we do also the on-site information validation assessment, and then 1 day for the follow-up. So then we will see how much the company is ready for the CPR, and we also have some gap analysis. So I will share this slide, and then you can go also to this link to see more information about these services. The other one is the EPD process certification. So if you work with the EPD, then you know that this is a new kind of certification. So if the company produce a lot of EPD, then we can also do the like the process certification for EPD, and then the manufacturer can. So we as a Kiva certify these tools, and then the company can make this EPD, and then it is automatically will be verified and it will be validated. For that, we need also the infrastructure, and the company need this infrastructure to make sure that this system will work correctly. And then the notified body like Kiva will do the like monitoring and control to be sure that the system is done correctly for this EPD. So another thing is the CPR AVS 3 Plus validation check. So for that, it means that if you have the EPD or if you wanted to make your EPD, we can do it for you based on the AVS 3 Plus check. So it means that we have some initial inspection. We can assessment the performance of your product. We can prepare the validation report for the data that you have and for the LCA report. And then we can also integrate it not only in your EPD, but also we can have some solution for declaration of the performance and conformity. So another things, as I mentioned, is the environmental product declaration with the Kiva. So we have the software is called the Rethink. And then here the service that we can offer you, we can help you with the data collection, life cycle assessment, not only for the product, like a construction product, but also for the electronic device. So we are also doing based on the ISO 21930. So we are not only work with the 15804, but also with the ISO one, or if you have the electronic device with the EN 50963. So we also provide some kind of LCA EPD training. And then if you have this written license, then we also give you like an onboarding. And at the end, we also provide the carbon footprint of the product. So then you will have like the carbon footprint for your product. So what about the digital product passport? As I mentioned, it is still not clear, but we are not waiting for that. And we offer to the client this kind of dashboard. So if you scan this QR code, which I recommended to scan this QR code, then you will see there was one EPD for this product, and then we put some information about the like a sustainability performance. So now if you use the Rethink, we can also connect it based on the API to this digital product passport, which we now put the environmental impact assessment. So if you scan this QR code, then you will see this page will be pop up, and then there was some information that could be also including, I don't know, some marketing features like contact us, some information, so on, and then it would be also included all of the certification that you have for this product, and also the valid date of your EPD, if there was also external validation or it would be like internal validation. Another thing which we'll offer, which is also connected to the CPR and the green building certification, is that now we see that in the European level, as you know, we wanted to all achieve the EU Green Deal. And here there was the product level, EPD based on the EN 5804, or PEF or CPR. This is all the product level, but we also have the national building assessment, such as DGNB, BREEAM, QNG in Germany, BNB. So we have different kind of green building certification, like age also. And then here we fulfill this gap between the product level to the national building level by a service. We call it like a sustainability product passport. So it means that we evaluated your product. If you are a manufacturer, we evaluated your product, how many scores you will get in the different building scheme. And then we can also put for you behind the QR code, which is all in all could be also connected in the future to the digital product passport. So we have also some pilot project for these services. If you scan this QR code, then you will see, for example, for this example, how many scores this product get in the LEED version 4 or in the DGNB. And of course, at the end, we will also give some document to the manufacturer of the product that's how many scores will be like applicable in the different chapter of the green building. So this is what we can also offer to the client. Thank you very much. So my presentation now is finished here. I appreciate if at the end you will scan this QR code, because I really like to know that what type of the support would be most valuable for you right now, and then we will go to the Q&A. So if you scan this QR code, so I will just open. So now you have to see. So I am interested to know what would be the most valuable support that you need for like the current service that you have. Okay, AVS 3 plus validation. It's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. So I will just keep it for 5 minutes and then we will go to um, like Q&A. Okay, CPR readiness check. Okay, thank you very much. So now I'm just ready for the Q&A. If there was any question, then I would be happy to answer. And of course, if there was some specific question, then we can also discuss it later, or I will just send the answer by the email. Could you please help me with the chat? What would be the question?
I see there is a question from Damien in the chat.
Okay, will the EU battery passport pilot example also cover battery use for the domestic solar panel energy battery storage? So as I am not that much expert in the battery, so you can send an email to me and then I will connect you to my colleague. But I think if the industrial battery with a capacity more than 2 kilowatt, then it would be also fall in this one. But to get the clear answer, I would recommend to send me an email and then I will forward you to like an expert which is work specifically with the battery. Okay, if there was any question and you wanted to come to the stage, so I would appreciate if you also raise the hand, then my colleague can open your microphone and then we have also your question by the microphone. Okay, good. I think it's probably everything is clear or it's everything. There was a lot of information which you need to digest it. So in both sides, I will happy if there was any support from the Kiva team. Just send an email or call us, and then we will support you and then help you in any case that you need this kind of support. So by this, then I will end up this session. Thank you very much for you all, and then have a nice evening. Bye bye.
Bye, thank you so much.